Welcome to What's Your Skroove, where we tell stories, share experiences, and get inside the minds of artists, athletes, creators, and musicians. All right, everybody, welcome to episode 21 of What's Your Skroove. Our newest guest, Drew Potvin. We're in this is like one of the coolest studios / storefronts I've ever seen. He's the owner of 37th Shield Library right here in Eastern Market in Detroit, and we're excited to be here. So thanks for inviting us out.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming. This is cool. I'm glad it lined up and everything, time-wise, schedule-wise.
I mean, it lined up perfectly enough to when we walked up, you were just opening the garage door, so you can see the video footage of that. It was perfect.
So we came down to Eastern Market maybe like 3 weekends ago, and we just wanted to check it out because we heard good things and because we're new to the area. And that's like when we met Henry the Hatter because we had him on the podcast too. One of the guys there. But we were just walking back to our car, and we saw your door open and the sign out front. We're like, oh, let's go check that out. And we saw the records.
We're always a sucker for records.
Yeah, so we popped in and looked around and introduced ourselves and got to know you. And it's like, oh, dude, Drew seems like a really good, sweet guy, and let's have him on the podcast.
Yeah, it was cool. You guys just kind of stumbled upon the space. I saw you guys walk up, playing around with the camera and talking to some girls out there. Yeah. I was like, all right, what's going on, But yeah, just I have the shop open on the weekends, and meet cool new people all the time. It's like I pop open the garage door. It's just open to the public. People stumble upon us and find the record shop. It's full of nostalgic memories.
It's so
and
cool.
Time warp, time travel.
What would you
exactly?
What would you consider it? Like a secondhand shop, or what do you call it, or how do you describe it to people?
I don't know. I guess a lot of times I say sort of like retro, or it's a resale shop mostly. But we do have some new inventory that it's multimedia resale more or less. But yeah, retro, vintage sort of vibe going.
Because you have everything from old records to VHS to comics,
action figures.
Yeah, action figures.
Yep, artwork, trading cards, a lot of local music.
That's very cool.
Detroit oriented. So.
And how long has the 37th Library storefront been a thing?
This we're about to go into our 4th year now.
Excellent.
So Flower Day coming up in May. It's a big event that they do every year in Eastern Market. That sort of marks our 4th year.
It's your anniversary.
Yeah, that was our original launch was Flower Day 4 years ago.
But you said you were doing this a while before that too, right?
Yeah, it went on for, I guess it was a couple of years where I was just doing eBay, online sales, mostly books. Got into comic books, and then it just sort of built from that. The library theme came from selling books on eBay, and it kind of evolved. I'm a collector myself, so I had video games, I had comics, I had a big music collection. So a lot of this stuff was just spillover from years of my own collecting.
Gotcha.
And not knowing what to do with all this extra stuff sort of thing. So yeah, it's been a process, but it's getting bigger and better every year.
So how did you decide to focus and create this into a business? What was interesting about it to you, and why did you want to pursue that?
Yeah, I had some encouragement from friends that kind of gave me I guess the help give me the courage to actually go for it and kind of take that leap of faith into opening up the store. So prior to the 37th in the space, we had kind of subleased the spot to Detroit Hustles Harder or the Optimal Clothing guys, and that was for 5 years. I was just kind of not quite as involved. It was more of their shop, but I had some records, a couple random things in there. But then they moved upstairs and the space opened up, and I was like, I think I could expand on what I had. I could bring in the comics and some of these other elements into it and go with the retro media stuff. So I don't know. And then I have a couple of friends who are DJs and artists and stuff that were let's put our stuff together. So I have a couple of friends who helped me put the inventory together and curate the collection a little bit too. So
I got to know, how big is, if judging by all those records out there, how big is your personal record collection?
yeah, I mean, well, technically it's like the store is an extension of my own
Right,
collection.
sure,
Like
sure.
if it doesn't sell, I'm stuck with it. But
And you can listen
but-
to any of those anytime you want.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So I'm learning about a lot of new stuff just by it falling into my lap and coming into the door through customers, and you know, it's been a really big learning experience. But oh man, my own collection of actual vinyl is growing. It's not as big as you might think, but I've got a lot of good like hip hop and, you know, instrumental and beat projects and stuff like that. Like that's kind of what I focus on. But I've also got some old classic rock and blues and jazz and stuff
That's
like
cool.
that. So.
So
Yeah.
what were you doing before you decided to start the 37th?
Before the store, I was kind of like, I was throwing a lot of events in the back of the shop. We have an art gallery space, which is kind of where we're set up here. This is sort of like the lounge, almost like a VIP lounge.
Crow's nests.
Yeah, looking
Nice.
down kind of over the back of like an open performance area or art gallery space. So for a while there, like I've had this place for over 10 years now. So the first couple years we were doing events almost every weekend.
That's
Okay.
so cool.
And it was anywhere from, you know, indie bands to DJ like dance party nights to just like straight parties. Like we rented it out
So
for
cool.
bachelor parties and
That is
birthday
sweet.
parties and all kinds of stuff. So it was really like we jumped in really heavy and we're doing that quite a bit. And then I was just doing like side jobs. I worked on the side with some friends. You know, just kind of under the table stuff. I
Yeah.
do painting, light carpentry work. I also kind of have some experience with like some caregiver stuff as well, a little bit. So help friends with that sort of stuff. So
Right.
whatever, man, just like many hats,
Yeah.
like juggling whatever I can do to pay the bills and come up with it. So yeah, it's been a hustle, man.
But now you're doing this full time, and like you're doing
Yeah.
your own thing full time, which is awesome.
Right.
That is
That's
awesome.
very cool.
Thank
It's
you.
inspiring.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, half of it is the physical store. We're open weekends, like seasonally. It's like Saturday and Sunday right now, and as the season goes on, I'll start to get back up to 4 days a week again.
Okay.
And then the online is 24/7. You know, every day of the year, I get up first thing in the morning, do all my customer sales and all that.
Yeah.
Post office once or twice a week and all.
Okay.
So that's the other side that like kind of people come into the shop don't see is
Right.
that a lot of that stuff is online and we're international online. So
Very
So
cool.
when people like can show up to the shop and they can bring like a record in, and then you'll buy it. You can buy it off them, or will they actually like say, "Oh, I want this," and you'll swap with them, or what?
potentially, I mean, yeah, I've had some really good stuff come in the door. You know, we're right next to Bert's Warehouse over here, so there's like a lot of like OG, you know, guys that are like Motown heads that will bring in some old like funk and soul music or
man.
some blues that is like, you know, you get lucky, you find some
Right.
jewels and
Yeah.
stuff like that sometimes. But I don't know. Yeah, other than that, yeah, if people want to trade, you know, a lot of times it'd be like a wholesale price that I offer.
Right.
You get better trade-in value than you get for cash value. But, you know, I do cash people out if I have the money and the items are cool. So
Yeah.
Really, how did you grow your online store?
that's a tedious process. You have to, you know, take the photos, you have to describe the thing in detail and grade it. You have to build good statistics with customers. So, I mean, without giving away all my secrets or whatever, but
Yeah.
no, I started as a buyer on eBay and just kind of collecting myself and built up like good buying statistics so that when I started selling stuff, I already had 100% feedback and like I had a record of being trustworthy.
And you knew the
person, so.
industry really well from scratching your own itch, right? And then that in turn made you a good practitioner for what you ended up doing.
I kind of threw myself in the deep end online, but I've had some help too. With the books, I have to shout out Doc Waffles from Co-Owners. He's a local MC, artist. You know, he's helped me a lot with the book hustle in particular. originally I was kind of starting with like comics and stuff, and he really got me into the book aspect and like learning how to go to the right places to find rare and antique books for cheap, and realize that these things hold value.
Right.
So things like that. So I have to shout out him. He kind of like showed me the ropes of the online hustle, dealing with like how to grade and everything, doing all that stuff. It's kind of like boring and nerdy to talk about, but you know what I mean? Like that is a big part of it.
Absolutely.
Good customer feedback, getting the stuff shipped out on time, trying to package it right so that people's items don't get broken.
Right.
It's there's a lot to it, but I have good feedback. I have good statistics. You can check me out on Discogs for music. I've got about 1,100 items on Discogs right now active.
And is it all under like the 37th Shield?
Yeah, 37th Shield library on Discogs and eBay. Those are my primary like online stores.
Okay.
And then I do Facebook, Instagram.
Do you use like the Facebook marketplace?
I haven't yet. I'm kind of like, I definitely have thought about it. It's just another new thing that
Something
I have
to
to kind of break the ice on. But I've heard some good things. People are saying like they're selling stuff.
Yeah,
on
I've
there,
never really used it either.
Either have I, but a lot of people I've talked to buy a lot of stuff off of it, especially people I know like when they move, like they'll use that as like a huge resource or so.
I think it's actually growing and doing pretty well. So I'm going to have to look into it. There's also like Etsy. I was thinking about Etsy for all our artwork, and like you can do vintage stuff on Etsy too.
Oh, really?
So that's another one. At some point I'll probably do Amazon, but that's like the biggest marketplace out. So they're pretty strict. Like Amazon's a whole other beast where you have to kind of like ship everything the next day or within a day or two. It's very strict. So I don't know if I really want to deal with all that yet.
Right?
Yeah.
One thing at a time for sure.
Yeah.
I liked what you said earlier when we were just talking off camera about I forget how you said it, but like the shop, bringing in like like-minded energies and that creative people. And like thing you said about like selling dreams, I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
If you can remember what you said. Like,
I don't know how he articulated it, but it was very well put.
Because when I met you guys, that's sort of like the vibe I got was that you were interested in people who were sort of like pursuing their dreams and taking chances. I mean, I did have to take sort of a leap of faith and make sacrifices to really like make this keep growing and be something legit. I've taken a lot of like criticism from random people that come in that are like, what is this? Like, you can't, they don't get it. They don't really see the vision, or they don't, appreciate that, retro or throwback stuff. It still appeals to some people. It's not all about streaming and digital and downloading yet, like there's kind of both worlds still exist. So, people would be surprised if they saw like the international sales, people buying underground Detroit hip hop music that's
so cool.
Like nobody even knows about around here, and somehow somebody in Germany is buying it. Yeah,
that's cool.
It's crazy, but just kind of like it was a dream of mine as a kid. Like a lot of people kind of dream about having a comic book or record store or something, and being able to sit in there and meet people and listen to music and read comics or watch movies or whatever. It's very chill. You know, it's like a really but it's also I take it really seriously, and I keep myself busy and whatever. So it's just been kind of like a leap of faith. But I meet people all the time coming in the shop and like-minded. Like you said, I'm right in the middle of Eastern Market here, so you've got like a built-in foot traffic that's here every week. You've got people from it seems like Germany, like Berlin and Paris all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I always meet people from those cities.
No kidding.
Coming to Detroit and checking it out. I think there's a huge buzz about it in Europe about the development here.
That's
and,
really cool.
Yeah, so they're coming here and checking it out and moving here in some cases, or pursuing creative projects and things like that. I've met a lot of people from like the UK, Japan.
Wow.
Canada too, of course.
Yeah, naturally, it's right there.
We're literally like, if you think about it, it's like a mile or maybe a mile and a half to Canada from here.
We're closer to Canada right now than like where we live.
I know, seriously.
I want to touch on that too a little bit, because I think it's an important part of what's going on right now, and not very many people have the real perspective that you do, because you've had this space for 10 years. And 10 years ago, Detroit, and what is now Eastern Market was a whole nother world.
Yeah.
And like you jokingly said off camera, like it was like a Wild West, completely different area, and now it's turned into this. I think people see it for what it's becoming and what it's going to be in the next 5 to 10 years. So, I mean, if you want to talk a little bit about that development and like what you've seen or appreciated, or things you can take away from that, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess like when I first moved down here, it was kind of a little bit more of like a red light district almost, where people will come down here. There's a culture of after hours partying, warehouse parties. Bert's used to go late. Like back in the day, they used to go 24 hours when they first moved down here. From my understanding, like that spot was kind of given to them to kind of get them off of the Jefferson Strip because things were getting too crazy over there. So
who is this?
Bert's Warehouse, legiondary jazz and blues spot next door. So they were one of the first like pioneering venues down in Eastern Market, and so there was a few things already going on here, but there was a lot of car break-ins when we moved down here. There was a lot of petty theft, and it wasn't as developed. There was just generally there wasn't as much going on down here. It was a little bit more off the beaten path. You know, you could kind of get away with, things for better, for worse down here. Right. It's a big tailgating place, so like people come down here to party on the weekends before games, and there's a lot going on. But just Eastern Market has always been there on Saturdays as a farmers market district, and I guess with this new wave of popularity, there's a ton of new shops. There's a lot of new like restaurants, bars, retail, all kinds of things like coming up that it's just reinforcing the energy down here. So
that's good.
Just gradually every year there's more and more stuff, and it brings more foot traffic throughout the week. There used to be like tumbleweeds on a Monday. Like there was nothing you could hear. There was nothing happening. But now it's like gradually every day it's more and more traffic, and it's starting to catch on. So
I mean, like we're from the Flint area, and we were trying to figure out, where we want to move to grow our brand.
Yep.
And Detroit was super attractive to us because of kind of like it's on the up and up, and we thought it was very cool and a lot of different stuff to do.
Yeah, there's so much going on. I can't even keep up, really. You know what I mean? There's so much between like new restaurants that I want to check out, or there's new venues that are popping up. It's really hard to keep up with everything, but there's a lot of cool creative people down here that are doing inspiring things.
That's very cool. I think I read this because I like the Red Bulletin. It's like Red Bull's magazine, and I think they did like a story on like the Detroit nightlife and like you're saying, like the warehouse parties.
Right.
That's kind of like a known thing, isn't it?
Sure. Yeah. There's definitely. I mean, over the years, like it goes back to. I mean, I'm sure it goes further back than this even, but like I think about like the '90s rave scene. It was just like this underground movement push. For like, they'd find these spots that were. Think about Eastern Market. It could have been like an old produce spot or a meat warehouse, and they, clear it out and bring a sound system in and just like set up shop. So there's been a lot of that party culture. Music culture is huge down here. So it's the heartbeat of the city, man. There's a lot of innovative artists. Like I said, all I have to do is open up the garage, and then I get, musical artists that want to bring their music to the shop, or people that collect vinyl, or artists who want to maybe like do an art show in the spot, or somebody who's got apparel that's interested in putting some T-shirts in the store. So it's kind of like a universal thing, and like energies attract sort of thing. Sure. Creative minds or whatever. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, it's been like effortless in certain ways. Like those opportunities kind of just fall into my lap. And it's like, what do I want to do with it? We were actually able to put this together like tangibly, like just off the whim of just on the fly, a meeting a couple weeks ago. Like, let's do it.
Let's make it happen.
So that's cool. Like it just takes people who are interested and open minded. Coming in and
absolutely
asking a couple questions.
And I think that your storefront, and it really invites that. You know what I mean? Like it for sure, like it attracts that.
It's always me sitting out there. Like I own the shop, and when it's open, like I'm there. Like you can get at me online. You could come and see me in the shop. I'm not like you know, if I'm very like accessible. So,
Sure, absolutely.
You know.
And what I think is really cool too about what you do is like you're an enabler. Like you're able to have like artists and
Right.
you know, whether they have a band or they do art and want to do a gallery or something down here, you can give them that that outlet
Yeah.
to, you know, grow their passion and grow, like, get their artwork out there.
Sure,
Which is
yeah.
very
I guess
cool.
it's like a facilitator,
Yeah, exactly.
curator
Yeah,
sort of position I'm taking on. That's not necessarily like what I had in mind initially when I moved down here.
Yeah.
I had a lot more of my own pursuits, but as time went on, I met so many creative people down here that it was just like almost overwhelming. I was like, you know what, like almost like I just decided to kind of put a lot of my own stuff on the back burner and take a break from my own art and music and just focus on all these talented people that I was meeting. And I'm like, you know, like I'm all right, but like these guys are really dope. Like
Cool.
I want people to know about these guys. So like I started, you know, putting shows together and curating bills, and it's just, yeah, it's been a process, but yeah, facilitating
That's so cool.
art, kind of being a catalyst for other people's creativity and
Absolutely.
stuff like that. So
When you bought the space or, you know, started renting it out, was that the goal, was to like throw events? Was this after you like met those type of people? You're like, okay,
Yeah.
there's this. All right, I could do that
Right.
here.
What's that process look
Is that
like?
how it worked?
it was, yeah, it wasn't the initial idea to do events really. Like I was in a group called Misinformants. We can touch back on that
Oh, yeah, go
at some
for
point.
it.
Yeah.
But like, we got this place as kind of like a recording and jam out space to
Okay.
like be able to practice. We had a
Right.
drummer. We were rapping. So we, you know, just a place where we could be loud and obnoxious and not have to worry about neighbors
Right.
and anything. So it was just like, really that was the initial intent, but we moved in here. So it was like a living / work situation, and then we threw our first like housewarming party probably like a month and a half or something like into the whole thing, and it was just like, you know, I don't remember exactly how many people showed up, but like it was a success, and it was like, wow, you know, we could definitely do something with this. And then just to follow up on that real quick, like there was another venue that was a few blocks away that they were getting kicked out of their space, or something like that. I think they were getting kicked out. I forget what it was. Shout out to Scrummage, Lord Scrummage, or Scrummage University. They were over by Red Bull for a while back then, and they had some shows lined up that they weren't able to do because they were having to leave the spot. So they came to us like offering a couple like, you know, names. Like, do you guys want to have Soul from Anycon? I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Anycon Records or anything like that. It's kind of like avant-garde, like anti-conformist hip-hop,
Okay.
like, you know. But I was really into it, and I was like, of course, let's do that. So we did that. Like 200 people showed up, and that's when I really, like, the light bulb went off that we could actually make a venue out of the place.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so we started customizing it. We built the stage. We kind of like built the bar and merchandise area and bench seating, and, you know, worked on the lighting, built up the sound over the years. So
Gotcha.
there was, you know, it's been a process. Like the sound wasn't that great when we were first doing shows. It's still, you know, it's gotten a lot better, but, you know, it's a constant
Yeah,
evolutionary.
I mean, that's
Absolutely.
what it's all about, is constantly improving rather than waiting till it's all perfect to start. You just do it, and then you like sand it down, and yeah,
Yep.
100%. So are you a Detroit native, by the way, or where you?
Yeah, like Metro. I'm from Royal Oak, Ferndale area.
Okay.
Yeah. So I actually went to private school in Detroit, Detroit Waldorf School.
Okay.
It's I don't know if you've ever heard of Waldorf education. It's like a
It sounds familiar.
yeah. It's a worldwide thing now.
wow.
It's not religious, but it's just sort of like a hands-on, artistically oriented, like
Cool. Very cool.
well-rounded education style, and that's right over there in Indian Village, like not too far from here, really. So I actually would drive by Eastern Market every day on the way to school as a kid, and it always like kind of planted that seed of it. So like later on in life, when I came down here, there was some familiarity, and I
Right.
was drawn back to it. And now, you know, it's like home. So
How cool.
yeah. So what was I strayed off a little bit.
Oh, I don't know. I just interjected and asked if you were a Detroit native because you were just talking about all these events and you know how you had all these people show up and stuff. So I didn't know if a lot of these were friends from growing up or people you had just met from you know like being down here if you were new to the area or whatever, or if you were
right.
You know, so
Yeah, I had a big network from high school. You know, like I went to high school. I ended up going to high school in Royal Oak. It was Kimball before it turned into Royal Oak High School. I'm a little older, so but yeah, like I met a few people in the music scene back then. Blair French, Dial 81. I went to high school with. He ended up being a big influence, and we ended up starting a label together. And you know, he really got me into music. But you know, we carried some of the networking from our high school. Started doing shows in like Berkeley, in that area, kind of in the suburbs, and we were throwing some big shows out there. And then I started bringing in people from Detroit to the suburbs.
Right.
It was sort of like a reverse process.
Yeah.
And then when I got down here, I already had some of my networking from like people that were in the scene in Detroit.
Okay.
Like I could say like Leif Erikson is definitely like somebody I go way back with. Eddie Logix, some of the co-owners guys, we go back quite a bit.
that's sick.
Scraps. So, yeah, I know I'm gonna forget a bunch of people, so I don't want to name drop too much, but yeah, no, we brought some of that suburbanite crowd, like you know, the heads that were kind of like down with doing stuff in Detroit. I think once we moved down here, a lot of people fell off though. Like my suburban friends, sort of like. They didn't all like coming down to Detroit. Some of them were scared to come to the city.
Really?
Yeah, some of them just, you know, over the years kind of fell off. But as they fell off, we just would keep meeting new people, bringing in more people. So it's been, you know, again, it's just like a constant thing of like bringing in, you know, meeting new people and
growing that network and just getting connected. So you do shows like a couple times a month now? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's typically like one big show a month, and then we might do like an in-store event with some live DJs or like somebody punching out some live beats in the shop, and they'll bring out their, you know, their new vinyl or their new CD or whatever, and it's a good opportunity for them to meet people that they would never meet.
For sure.
Right.
You know, we have all these random people coming in the shop, and they end up selling CDs to just some stranger off the street, you know. So it's cool, just like giving them a platform to get some exposure and things like that. So between the nighttime is sort of more of like a private, you know, private thing where we have a guest list, and it could be like a hip hop show, it could be DJ night,
Right.
Sometimes it's like a dance party, sometimes it's a combination of those things. So
and those are just artists, like people that you've met and want to like do a party with, or how does that kind of come about?
Yeah, typically now it's like I will work with either by myself and curating an event and kind of promote it as my own event, or a lot of the times it's somebody will come to me and say we want to do a show at the spot. And I'm like, okay, let's put our heads together, and who would compliment you on the bill?
Right.
How can we get people from my following to come out to your show? How can you get people that we have mutual fan base with to get on the bill and bring some of those people out? So just like curating bills with other people, things like that. So,
That is cool.
yeah.
It's not just, hey, let's have some people over. You know, there's some purpose that goes behind it to really make it the best event it can be.
Yeah, it's not just anybody who wants to throw a party for the right price can do a show here. It's like it kind of has to be like I'm open to new people, but you got to send me the links. I got to check it out, make sure like we can kind of like
There's a connection there.
Yeah, figure out something like where there's a bridge,
Right.
you know.
For sure.
So that's I try to bring in new people almost every time too. Like
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like we always give the younger guys a chance to, like that are up and coming, to do a show with some of the like the OGs who have been doing this thing for a long time. So
And there's probably no shortage of that talent around here, or like, you know, if you want to find somebody to open up for the
crazy amount of talent in Detroit.
Yeah.
Like you can't even keep up. Like I could throw a couple hundred like names that nobody's ever heard of out, and they're go look them up, and they're all good. They're like legit artists that are doing shows, that have releases out, that may or may not be touring. But I mean, there's so much talent in Detroit, so I've really got I'm passionate about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like Detroit hip hop is kind of like my heart.
Yeah.
And so that's like, I guess that's the foundation in all of this, you know, whether it be the events or the store. I've got a ton of like local artists in Detroit hip hop in the store. And that's what I'm really trying to like give a platform and make it accessible to, I know it sounds like grandiose, but like to the world because
Right.
of the
Yeah.
online sales and the international marketplace that we have down here. I think we're kind of making it accessible and giving people like a viewpoint into this scene that is hard to find, you know, like without jumping right into it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think that's super cool too. Like that, it's like that Detroit pride, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that,
for sure.
That people have, and like you're able to translate that through your business and your brand, and you know, offer that to the people from, you know, Germany and wherever they are in the world,
Right.
right.
and help grow people's, you know, facilitate people's passions and
Yes.
Yeah.
help grow their audience.
Detroit is a very prideful city. Like when they go out of town, like they're gonna be repping their decap.
Oh, for
like
sure.
you know, like people are proud to say that they're from Detroit, even if they're from Metro Detroit. They rep Detroit when they're out of town. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know too many other cities. Maybe every city's like that, but like I feel like something like Detroit, people just rep it so hard, and it's contagious.
I mean, like that Detroit versus everybody T-shirt.
Yeah.
It's like blew up. You know?
Yeah, like that's you know, Detroit hustles harder.
Yep.
There's a lot of like, you know, that narrative of like, you know, it's a hardworking people that are, you know, willing to compete with like on a world platform and like not give up kind of thing, you know. So,
Motown, baby. Right?
yeah, man.
I think there is like a certain, I mean, like every big city has its thing, but like, you know, Detroit for so long has had that, you know, it's been in such a hard times for such a long period of time that the people who have stuck through it and, you know, are willing to put their brand and their presence a part of that, they're really proud of it. And that's kind of the thing. Like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like they're really willing to put their stamp on it. So,
Yeah, being able to like being survivors.
yeah.
Being able to weather the storm and like keep pushing through the bullshit.
Yeah, no
Like,
kidding.
It's relentless. I mean, you know, I'm lucky. I've got a lot of people. Like I've got my family on my team.
Right.
Like, you know, a lot of people have tougher situations and don't have the support network that I have. So I'm blessed. You know, I'm lucky. But I also work really hard to, you know, maintain that or to give back to that. And you know, it's relentless. I mean, people who know me, like I hustle. I never stop. And I'm not trying to say I outwork the next guy, but it is what it is, man. Like, I can't afford to give up. You know, like
Dude, for
you know
sure.
what I mean?
Exactly
Like,
what you're talking about, man.
So
Yeah, we get that.
yeah, so that's what it is, man. And I'm passionate about it. I'm committed to it. I'm here. Like I've been here for over 10 years now.
That's
I'm not
crazy.
going anywhere. Like people have a hard time believing that when they meet me in the shop. They're like, you know, because a lot of people are just finding out about this whole movement and scene in Detroit, and it's
been around.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we outlasted the recession.
It's
Like
crazy.
we made it through the recession as like just, you know, throwing these events and throwing open the garage door on the weekends and
That's so
just,
cool.
just
Providing
going for it.
escapism for people maybe during those hard times too, which there's a lot of value there.
Yeah, culture, real music, like just raw, trying to be raw and like and you know, truthful about, you know, just wearing it on our sleeves or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to like sell out or like do anything that I'm not like, that I don't really feel like
Represents your brand.
yeah,
kinda,
exactly.
yeah.
I mean, I'm open to everybody's movements, but you know, yeah, it's got to be some sort of like genuine or something genuine about it, and I do the best I can to try to like pick artists or people who I feel like deserve a chance or a platform. Sometimes it's underdogs who I'm just like, dude, throw these people a bone for crying out loud.
Right.
Like they've had the worst luck. Like, you know, help them out. I got a lot of friends who have gone through hell and back, so it's like give them a chance to do an art show or you know, put their CD on display or whatever it is, or showcase their beats or something. It means a lot to people. So
Absolutely, give them that platform.
yeah.
Maybe you'll have Eminem come through here one of these times. real Detroit OG.
Real talk, man. You know, I've met everybody but M and a couple select others in the Detroit hip hop scene.
Really?
Like I know, not saying no, but I've met almost everybody else in the scene.
That's so cool.
I'm friends now with some of these guys who like I was years ago I was just a fan of.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now they're my peers and we're hanging out and doing shows, and it's surreal. I mean, it's really like, I mean, sometimes I have to really step back and be like wow,
Yeah.
it's crazy. It is like I'm kind of like starstruck sometimes, but I'm like, these guys respect me in a way that I can't act starstruck. Like
Right.
we're doing business together. Like it is what it is. So, so I'm starting to realize like I've made a lot of progress and have a lot to show for my, my hard work and my accomplishments, and just investing in the scene and really getting people that are recognizing it and bringing it back now. Like people are reaching out to me now to do stuff here that I like 5-10 years ago I would have had to hunt them down.
Yeah,
like,
that's so cool.
Find out who our mutual friends were.
Yeah.
Right.
Whatever.
Oh,
And
yeah.
now I'm getting those emails. I can't even keep up and do as many events as I the demand is there.
Uh-huh.
So it's hard. I have a hard time saying no. I want to help everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's just trying to be fair, trying to get everybody a chance and everything. So.
And that's super cool. I mean, for doing this for 10 years and going through the recession, I'm sure it's been a very tough and, ups and downs and like just a unique journey. And to like have that relationship with those people that you looked up to is like pretty unique.
That
and
is
cool.
unique, yeah.
And having the people, like you just said, that you would have to like try and figure out how you're going to get access to them.
Sure.
Now being like, Drew, hey, can we do a show here?
Yeah, can I come back and do another
Yeah.
night? You got anything for me like I can jump on, instead of it being like, sometimes initially when you reach out to an artist, it's like, what's the guarantee? What's the money guarantee?
Right.
It's like straight to business. And now it's like people know they're going to get paid. They know they're going to be treated right. They know it's going to be a good, a pretty good dope lineup on a relative scale. Like hopefully, not everybody loves everything I do, but I think in general, like it has a quality control there, and people respect like the what did you call that? Like the product, whatever,
Right,
the
like the
quality of
personal
the product.
brand, yeah.
So that's but yeah, shout out to like DJ Rack, Cheddar Bob from Cheddar Bob from 8 Mile.
Yeah.
Like I'm supposed to get together with him later.
Oh, really?
No kidding.
He's like, he hooks me up with records for the shop,
that's
and
sweet.
he's like, it's just like
So
kind of
he's like a DJ right now.
yeah. He's been DJing all these years. He's a producer too. He
Okay.
made beats for Eminem and stuff like that. So he kind of got pushed to the side when those guys were blowing up, and they didn't bring him on tour. They kind of left him in the dust a little bit. So it's a little weird, but like Rec has been holding it down in the underground scene the whole time,
Okay.
like throwing parties. He's a crazy like all vinyl. Speak of the devil. Yeah, you heard.
There he is.
There he is.
Oh
Oh.
my gosh.
DJ.
His ears are ringing, man.
Yeah, his ears are ringing. I'll have to grab that after, but
Okay.
but yeah, man.
That's
We could have done
hilarious.
a live interview.
Yeah,
Right?
just put on
could've.
speaker. Yeah. Hey, man, you're on the
way,
show.
you're on a podcast.
Yeah, afterwards. You don't tell him till after he hangs.
Right.
Like, Drew, am I on speaker?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm supposed to link up with him and
That's so
get some stuff
funny.
for the shop. Like he gives me movies and like vinyl and tapes and stuff like that for the shop, and that's the homie. Like I get to pick those guys' brains and like talk to them about Detroit history of
Yeah.
hip hop, and how like tell me stories about hanging out with those guys.
Yeah.
Like Eminem literally lived on his couch.
Really?
Like it was him and Daynon Porter from D12 had a house, and like Eminem was the guy on the couch.
Jeez.
Like right before he got signed and everything. I mean, literally he was homeless
That's so
and living at
crazy.
Rex's house. So it's like I get to hang out with him, and like DJ Head is going to be on our next event, who was Eminem's original tour DJ.
Okay.
He produced stuff that has like 50 Cent and all those guys
Oh,
on
wow.
it, like D12, all that. So it's crazy. It's like they're down to earth, cool people, and like once you get past like all the whatever like celebrity stuff, it's
Shock
like
and awe,
we're just
yeah.
real people.
Yeah,
And
they are just people.
yeah, it's like not like they're famous on TV like that all the time, or they're very accessible. They live around here. They work real jobs and have families and stuff. So
and that's very cool, and to have that relationship. But you're on that you're like on that level with them though. You can connect with them because you pursued your passion, you know, and you're like making it.
So there's a mutual respect.
I'd like
there.
to think. I'd like to think so, man. I humbly say that, you know, I could be included in that, but you know, I just always try to, like, I try to do the best I can to like be worthy of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes I don't always feel like I just feel human, and I do the best I can, and sometimes it's hard when you're in the midst of the struggle to really appreciate all those
sure.
like accomplishments, because it's like
100%.
you know, what do I have to show for it? But I do have so much to show for it. You know, you just get like caught up in the struggle sometimes.
It's something we struggle with personally. That is, and I think that comes with being an entrepreneur and pursuing your passion. Like we're bad at like living in the moment and recognizing like how far we've come and like where we're at because. But I think the reason you have that is because the opposite end, in order to be successful, like quote unquote, you have to always be on to the next thing. You can never be settling and getting comfortable. So it's like, it's kind of a flaw that is really a strength, right? You know, but it is something that we try and always, you know, every couple, you know, slow down, back up, you know, what are we grateful for? What have we done? You know, you're right. But it's good to hear that.
That's, yeah, definitely, man. Just being the gratitude of like,
yes,
you know, it makes you appreciate what you've got and that you've come this far. Like, why give up now, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So
it's incredible.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I'm just learning about you guys, but you guys have a lot of cool stuff going on. It seems like the brand and just I don't know. It just seems like a cool project. Like,
thank you.
Getting out there and like just getting on the ground and like and just seeing who kind of like. I don't know. That's how the world is. Like, you can go out and you'll meet the people that you're supposed to meet.
Yeah, 100%.
If you're open to it. You know what I mean? Like, you can go to a bar and you can either sit there on your phone and not talk to that person next to you, or you can like open up a conversation and realize that they want to help you and that you have something to offer them, or they have something to offer. Like, and it's weird how the world, the universe works.
It's so funny that you say that, though,
it's
because like we talk about that. You have to do these non-ROI positive, intangible things like
that
going to the bar
and
having fun and like just living life and like and understanding there's value in that. As long as you're doing that thing with like going in with the open mind of, man, you know, who knows. You know, being social and always thinking that somebody's got a story that, you know, maybe that could be really enjoyable to hear about. Maybe you can do something for them or vice versa. You can't put a price on that stuff. Yeah. And a lot of that doesn't make sense on paper, but it's how you build a brand.
It's so much random chance. I mean, when it really comes down to it, like, some of the people I've met in the most random places, like, just taking a chance and going out to a new show, a new venue, checking out a different band or something that I haven't seen yet, and just getting out into the real world instead of like, you know, there's value in the online networking and all that stuff, but like, I don't know, it feels like the connections tend to be a little stronger when they're made in real life.
100% agreed.
Absolutely. I mean, even with people that we've had on the podcast. We could either reach out to them through like Instagram, but somehow we stumbled across them in person, and that can, like, they probably wouldn't even responded on Instagram, or it's just a different vibe. But once you have that connection, you meet somebody in person, it is just different. Yeah. And that's how we came down here. It's like we can only grow this brand so big in like Flint, Michigan. We have to get down to an area where there's opportunity, and we took this risk moving down here because we knew that shit would just work out, because it always does. Yep. Everything happens at the exact right time it's supposed to. And it's so cool to hear you say that, because that's like the same belief
That's what we really believe.
Yeah, that leap of faith, man. Like it is. Like I've been like self-employed. Like I haven't worked for like a, you know, you could say like a corporate job or something like that in about 12 years.
Oh, wow.
It's actually been longer.
That's incredible.
To be able to say that at my age, like I don't know too many people that can really do that.
No.
And then it's mostly off of music. I mean, I'm almost living off of just like, if you consider shows and the record store or whatever, like I'm almost living off of music, which is like crazy to think about too. So
that is crazy to think about. There's a lot of people who wouldn't even think that's possible. Like,
especially now, like, I mean, at this point. So, you know, there's something to be said.
Are you listening, kids? You can do it. It's possible.
Yeah, I don't know. There's not a formula, but you gotta like there.
You just gotta believe in your like.
Gut, trust your instinct.
Follow your heart.
Trust
follow
your
your
instinct.
gut.
Yeah.
Like do like what you think you know is right. Do that, because about 100% it is, and if it isn't, like you
Just
have
have the
a
ability
learning
to pivot.
experience, and
Sure.
it was supposed to happen. Whatever happened
Yeah.
was supposed
Just keep
to happen.
adjusting.
Yeah.
As long as you're adjusting
Exactly.
forward.
It's not like everything I've done was a smashing success.
Right.
You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
I've had plenty of like shows or whatever where things didn't work out like 100% how we thought
Right.
they might, or you know, whether it's like turnouts at events or just long days in the shop where nobody comes in, or like literally like somebody begging me for money when I barely had a sale for the day, and I'm
Right.
like, oh, like there's moments where it just hurts, you know,
Yep.
like, but I don't know, man. But in the long run, it's like it's just worth it. It really is. Like I just keep myself busy. I keep myself like working on something. I'm like, don't look back. You know,
Right.
just keep going. So
Where did you like get that perspective and like belief from? Is it just through doing what you're doing, or like your parents, or certain relationships that you've had, or what?
it's weird. I don't know. You know, my dad is like a very like straightforward, like fundamental kind of like live by the rules, just like do everything
Right.
by the book sort of guy, and like but he did it very successfully. Like I think that maybe that's something to it, like the consistency. He worked at Detroit Public Library for 30 years.
Okay.
And then he worked at the community college for like another 15 years. So he's retired twice. And it's just like, you know, being able to have that discipline. I think
Yeah.
something about like the motivation of like getting up and like doing it every day.
That grind.
Yeah. But in my case, it's like I don't have to.
Right.
Nobody's like, if I want to not open the store, I don't have to.
Feeling hungover Saturday morning.
Yeah,
or whatever, right? Yeah,
it has happened.
Yeah.
You know, it has happened, and like I'm the one who has to pay the price ultimately for it. So that's what it comes down to. If I don't open the store, then I don't make my money
You
that
hurt
week,
yourself.
and
Yep.
I'm shooting myself in the foot.
Yep.
So I got to just like, I get up every day with like a what am I gonna do on behalf of the cause every day, and it, like I'm talking about holidays, like
Oh, yeah.
every day of the week, like it doesn't stop. It
It's
never stops.
24/7.
There's no weekend.
No.
Like I work every weekend, so
Yep.
And it's
and
always on
I
your mind,
party
too.
too. So
Yeah. See,
it's-
that's the balance. Like people, like the perspective is so strange. Like, you know, they'll see what they want to see or however that works. But yeah, it is. It's always on. Like that's one reason we do 2 daily videos. Like so he does one and I do one because it forces us no matter what happens. Like, you know, like you have to get that done. You have to edit the one and you have to start filming the other one every day. Like it just gets you in that like let's go mindset, and like you
Yep.
have to get that done, and it forces productivity.
the
But-
regiment.
yeah, it is. Yeah, and it's that routine and like kind of that discipline equals freedom is a Jocko Willink line that we really appreciate. But you're right, it is a balance, but that allows you the freedom to live your life and party and have fun and do everything you want to do. But like you said, you pay the price for it on the other end, and that balance is like to me the game of being a self-made person in 2018. It's being able to balance that, live the life of your dreams, and still have the discipline to be, what a
Right.
successful quote unquote.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. You rarely meet people in Detroit who don't have like a side hustle
Yeah,
or
yeah.
some other
I've
thing.
noticed that
Yeah.
since you've gotten down here.
Like everybody's got 2-3 jobs or one main job and like a side hustle that, whether they DJ on the side or they make art or
Kind of like their passion project.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's really hard to do your passion, and make a living at it
Yes,
100%. So you got to have those supplemental things that will give you those boosts to like put back into your craft or whatever. And there's times where I've thought about it. I'm like, man, maybe I should just go get like a part-time or something just
Right.
so I
It'd
know
be a lot easier,
I
wouldn't
know
it?
the check's coming in,
Yeah.
But then it's like I'm kind of like trading in my passion or my soul for somebody else's work, their dream, their goal. And I'm giving all my time and energy into somebody else's thing.
Yep.
If it's some corporate thing, like I was feeling like, I didn't feel really good about myself when I was doing those sort of corporate jobs.
Yeah.
It's like, for what? What is
Unfulfilled.
this? Yeah, what is this really doing for the world? Or, it was a purpose thing.
Right.
I was like kind of like battling with, and one day I just had it, and I just no call, no showed.
Did you?
I was just like,
yeah.
I was like,
Love
this
it.
is the beginning of,
No
of
going
like,
back now.
yeah, the rest of my life, man. And I moved down to Eastern Market, and like this place just fell in our lap, man. Like it was.
This place is sick.
It was
can't
crazy.
get over how sick this place is.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's been a lot of work, but you know, I painted it floor to ceiling like a couple times. We did some remodeling. We've done a lot, man. It's just little customizing things to make it unique,
Yeah.
and I've got so much more I want to do with it, but you know, it's all time and money.
It'll happen.
So
Well,
yeah.
going back to like you saying, like working for somebody else, and you know, like it'd be a lot easier just for you to get like go get a regular 9 to 5, and you know, get home a guaranteed, bring home a guaranteed paycheck every week. But like, you're not really living your life; you're living someone else's life, and like time is
Yeah.
the only thing we have, and you're wasting your time not doing what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
So what's it really worth in the end? You know.
I know. I see some people who they're so burnt out by the end of their work week that they don't have the energy to pursue their creative project as much as they might want to, or you know, they're using that other time for like relationships or
Right.
family or something like that. So they're not left with a lot. So I think when you look at it like if it's a 40-hour a week job, like what could you really get done if you were putting 40 hours a week into your own craft?
Right.
You know, even if it was like 10 hours networking, 10 hours promo, you know, 10 hours in the studio,
Right.
10,
right.
you know,
it
just
doesn't mean
break it up.
sitting at a desk for 10 hours. Exactly. Yeah.
But you can like really, I don't know. And once you get into that regiment sort of thing, like you were
Yes.
talking about, that's when you really start to see productivity happen.
100%.
Like when you look back and you're like, wait, we've been doing this every day for this amount of time. All of a sudden we have 300 podcasts or whatever. Like that's very substantial body of work right there that you know, it's
And
hard
that's
to,
how you get good at
yeah.
podcasts too, right?
Right,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
definitely,
you look at guys
definitely.
like Joe Rogan, and it's so weird because I think you and we understand this perspective because you know we live in this ecosystem. But you look at a guy like Joe Rogan, everyone's like, man, he's the best, and he's tremendously talented. But I look at it and say he's done 1,000 of these things. He's put in so many hours. He deserves to be the best. Do you know how many? He has over 1,000 podcasts. Like, do you know how many? And most of them are 2 to 3 hours. Do you know how much time
Wow.
and
Yeah.
energy and like he did? That's what he didn't get there overnight. He's busted his ass, and like you know what I
Right.
mean. It's about that quant game, and like, and the other thing I would like to touch on is what you're saying is so true. Like you know, balancing these jobs and you know doing all these things, but the beauty of it is. 2018 is like the greatest time ever to really have the opportunity to where you can work that 9 to 5 job so you can pay your bills if you have to build up some savings to make the move. But then you also have the rest of the day to where, you know, between the internet and the way things are now, you can still work on your passion project for, you know, till 10 o'clock at night maybe,
Yeah.
and then still have time to unwind at the end of the day and still get 6 hours of sleep. Like that is the beauty of it. I think that as long as people aren't afraid to, as long as they have the end goal of, okay, I'm going to do this for maybe 6 more months to build up to get to where I need to be, and then I'm going to go for it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's that balance.
Laying the foundation.
100%.
You know? Like
Brick by brick.
that's a big part of it.
Yep.
You know, just I kind of looked at the store like the first couple of years of the shop. Like, you know, I knew it wasn't entirely what I wanted in my mind, like envisioned, like, but I knew that it will get there.
Yeah, just
like,
start
Yeah, it had
Yeah.
legs. It
Yeah.
could- yeah.
So each year we'll build a new record bin. We'll put a new sign up. We'll throw another mural up. We'll hang another poster wall or put some new lighting up. It's just like those little things each year. And then I'm like 3 to 5 years, I think it's going to be a lot better representation of what I was really picturing in the beginning. So, you know, you got to think like long term. You know, if I was, it's like, if I walked into it now and, you know, before, I guess if I like flash forward from when I first started it
Yeah.
and saw it now, I'd be like, yes,
Yeah,
like,
perfect.
yes,
You've
it's so
been so
much
stoked,
better,
like,
you know?
I never,
I think that's important too. I'm glad you said that because another thing that we are true believers in is like playing the long game and understanding that things take time, and everybody wants like instant gratification and they want it tomorrow or now. And like that's
Yeah.
just not how it works. Like if you're gonna do something like this, you have to understand it's gonna take a lot of time. You know more than anybody. You've been doing it longer than we have. Like I mean, you get it, and I
Yeah.
think that's important. That like, but you had that mindset going in and saying, you know, I see the vision. This is going to take time. We're going to do a little more each month, each day, each year, and I think that that's respectable. So
thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, building up inventory, curating a strong collection. Not just having like whatever cheesy stuff I can get my hands on, but trying to like get rid of some of the cheap like discount stuff, and then using that money to invest in newer like really dope projects that I feel like represent the store and my vision a little more accurately. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm transferring, this old vintage stuff and turning it into like new underground Detroit hip hop, and it's growing into this thing. So it's got a life of its own.
And I want to touch back because like we talk about it, like we said, quite a bit, but I've never really heard a lot of, like that many people say what you articulated, that you have to, just believe that it's going to work out and like form those relationships and kind of like let serendipity take its course.
Exactly.
And it's like we do like these daily videos and the podcast, and people are like, oh, like how many shirts does that help you sell? Does that help you get into another store? And it doesn't, but it's playing the long game. It's building the brand, and it opens the door to just new opportunities. Like you could repost this podcast and someone else could, listen to it like, oh, I want to be on that podcast. You just don't know who's watching or who's listening or who you're going to meet, or if like, we have the video camera out and somebody's like, oh, what is that? And we talk to them and tell them like, oh, that's super cool. And now they're super into the brand. And then they go buy a t-shirt, Yeah,
it's an indirect thing. It's not like, podcast equals 5 t-shirt sales. It's like,
but that's what everybody asks us, and it's like,
it's hard to.
We're so bigger picture.
Yeah, it's hard to explain that to people like that, because they want to know like, are you sitting in the store like on these slow days? Is it like really worth your time? And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm online doing my thing online at the same time. I'm pricing, I'm organizing. It's like, it's not just me sitting there twiddling my thumbs. It's like there's a lot more going on. So. But yeah, man, just
it's like believing in that serendipity, and you don't know who's gonna walk in, and what relationship you're gonna form, and what that's gonna lead to, and that's a super cool outlook on life.
I think there's just something to like knowing that life is gonna give you unexpected things for better and for worse. Like there's times when it seems like nothing's going right, and then something will fall out of the sky, and it's like it just makes your day or your week or whatever. Like it's like okay, things are still in the right direction. Like it's just weird how it works both ways, and you have to, whatever it is, whether it's like the universe or God or whatever you want to call it, or some sort of just universal law, but when you put it in, when you invest into it, you get it back. Like it's not immediate. It happens like in weird abstract forms down the road.
It happens.
I love hearing. Yeah, this is the beauty of this podcast, because we talk about this stuff a lot amongst ourselves on long car rides and stuff. But it's nice to hear it. It's funny to hear it from someone else who, especially whose mind is in the same spot. And I mean, I noticed you have a lot of books. You have a very impressive book collection. Have you ever read the book The Alchemist?
I don't think I'm not up on that one.
It'd probably take you 3 or 4 days to read it. Maybe it's very simple,
book.
Very quick, and he read it and gave it to me. Then I read it, and I
might have it around here somewhere. I swear, that sounds super familiar. But
it is. It's one of the best books I've ever written.
It's exactly along the lines of like what we're talking about, and like one of the main points in it is like when you want something bad in life, everything in the universe conspires to help you achieve it.
Right.
And it's so true.
No such thing as coincidences. Being open to recognizing those things, like that's part of it. Just being open to that and like wanting that, because these opportunities could happen to everybody. It could happen to everybody, but if you're not open, if you're not looking for it, you're never going to notice it, right? Like that's half of it.
These opportunities are flying by us all the time, constantly. Like you're driving by or walking down the street, and or sitting at the bar or whatever it is. Like you could look at each person as almost like an opportunity. I mean, sometimes I feel like you literally have to like consciously grab it, a hold of it, and be like, this one I'm gonna go for. Before it gets away, like you have to sort of like when it presents itself, it's like a wave. It's like surfing a wave, and if you don't catch it, there'll be another one. But like
that wave was one of a kind.
Yeah, you gotta get, if you want to get that wave, you gotta get it like now while it's going. And I try to tap into those like those moments. sometimes things slip by me, or in general, anybody in life, like it kind of slips through your fingers, and it's like the timing doesn't seem right after a while, and you kind of got to wait for the next like thing that feels right and not force it.
Yep.
I don't know. There's something to that.
Well, I think that goes on to also to say how important it is just to take action. Like people, not people, me. We all do this. Like I'm just saying, but in general, like I feel like a big thing that humans do is you juggle and you think about things and then it's gone. Like you just have to do. Like I think that's
seize it.
That exactly. That's one of the biggest things I try and give contemporaries, peers, friends that say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. I'm thinking about doing this. And like my advice is like always just like start. Like that's how you start. You just have to start.
Right.
Like, stop thinking about it and just do it.
None of this I'm going to do,
Right, yeah.
or I will. Like it's all about the doing.
Yep.
You know. Yeah, definitely, man. It's so true. Just go for it, jump in the deep end, like learn how to swim, like.
And your initial stuff, whatever it is gonna be awful compared to what it is in 5 years and 2 years. Like our old videos are awful. Like but like that's part of it. How do you think we got to where we are at making videos? Like
Get those out of the way,
Yeah,
so
like-
that you can get to the good ones.
Yeah,
Like,
but I always hear like, oh, but I don't want to put bad stuff out. Like, well, it's not bad stuff. It's just where you're at. That you're at that point in your career, and
Yep.
like, you know, Jordan didn't make his high school team. You know, how much practice do you think he had to put in to be the greatest player to ever live? You
Yeah,
know, like
I know.
I
That's
just
a
think
great
that's
example.
important, and I like that. You know, you emulate a lot of those thoughts because that's what people need to hear, and they need to hear it from more people than just us. So that's cool.
And coming back to that opportunity thing, it's like, we're trying so hard to, live our dream and build this brand into what we want it to be. And you're trying to, make this as successful as you want it to be. And you're trying so hard, but at the same token, you just kind of have to just kind of like let go a little bit and just relax and let the universe happen to you how it's supposed to happen. Like it's a really yin and yang kind of thing. It's like you're putting it all out there and trying, working your ass off. But at the same token, it's like, all right, now I'm just gonna be and see what opportunities come my way, see what the universe is gonna bless me with or throw at me.
Like
And
you have to put your head down and work, but if your head's down, sometimes you'll miss you know what I mean, right? Like it's a balance.
And it comes to like, just like not being in a hurry and just kind of being present and
Like,
seeing what's going on.
like not forcing things.
Exactly.
Because there's some sort of like balance there. I think that reminds me of like online promo or something like that, because I do a lot of that for events, and I try not to be like strategically like annoying. I try not to like bombard people too much with that type of stuff. Like I feel like there's a sweet spot, and too much is too much.
Right.
Like you're almost like shooting yourself in the
you're
foot.
hurting yourself with that. It's like,
If you're bombarding people, like they're not gonna look and see what it really is after a while. Like they might be like, oh, it's just another same old thing.
Right.
But if you can find like that sweet spot, how to like keep people in the loop, but not like be shoving it down their throat, sort of, that's just one example of that sort of thing of like trying not to force it. I try to just like, I know a lot of people who I wish would come around and like participate more or like bring their music in. So like, people out there, local artists, like, I bring your stuff into the shop. I'm trying to support local artists, your projects, your physical CDs or records, tapes, whatever you got. Like, it's, I wish more people would participate sometimes, but then there's the ones that do, it's like, it works. Like it's still working. So I just want, I want more people to get it, but there's a natural process, and you know what I mean?
That's a that's a good way to put it.
The more that it goes on and evolves, like the network's getting bigger, and more people are starting to catch on. Every one of my friends that finally decides to show up and check out the shop is like, damn, like I'm really glad I finally came in here. I get it now. Like I can really see what you're doing, and whereas before they might have only seen some of the posts online and not really fully understood what the vision was. So it's a process. But
what's like, looking forward like 10 years, what do you want this to be? What do you want it to become?
I do think long term with it. The store itself, I just picture overall just like the curating, the collection, the selection to be on par with like any other record store out here eventually. Right now I feel like I'm sort of a resale guy, so I'm not a record store, I'm not a comic book store, I'm not an art store. I'm kind of like a resale shop.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to really focus on the music aspect of the shop and like build that to be really like on par with like some of the other spots with like keeping up with new releases and having more mainstream brand new materials and stuff like that. That's just, the shop. I want to keep doing art shows for now. I think about into the future that about possibly, this thing here in the shop is sort of like the online business, and the shop is sort of turning into almost like a distribution company where I have access online and in the shop to, like I said, sort of like an international or interstate marketplace or even just metropolitan Detroit. And, that's definitely part of the vision is like putting artists that I believe in on that platform so their stuff can sit next to
Be the facilitator,
Jay Dilla,
right.
D12, Eminem, Finale, Fat Cat, some of like Elzai, some of these guys that are like that have kind of like broken through into the national or international touring scene. Some of these guys who are a little more slept on, or I feel like put their stuff next to that list and let them know that this is quality Detroit hip hop, like, and put it in a way where people can. This is the only place that people can get all this stuff in one spot.
For sure.
And then, like, if it has that 37th stamp of approval on it, like, that means something.
Seriously.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
And it's, like, recognized.
Yeah, that's what I want to, the goal is, like, the integrity of the brand name, possibly actually helping some artists put some music out that,
like, to the producing aspect or what?
Probably, like, more of like the manufacturing aspect or like investing in their product so they can have like a physical product, and then I can have some copies for the shop and my distribution company. So there's the ideas like that. Maybe someday reissuing some old like classic Detroit stuff that is impossible to find nowadays.
That'd be
And
sick.
we could reissue it, give people another opportunity to get a physical copy of it.
That'd be cool.
I have another vision, which is like way probably off. I don't even know if I should put it out there, but based on my like crazy collecting of Detroit hip hop, I was just thinking about this vision of like maybe someday there could be a Detroit hip hop museum that was like, you think about Motown Museum, like a place that embodied the this history and culture, and you can find out about artists that you're familiar with or endless amount of artists that you don't know about yet and be able to buy their product or
There's
whatever.
an interest for that, like, for sure. Yeah. Super unique.
So I don't know. That's just some of the ideas. Maybe going into booking publicly more so at bigger venues, bringing in more out-of-state acts and things like that. I've done some of that, but those are sort of like the 10-year scheme of things. I'd love to have the store for 10 to 15 years in an ideal world. I hope I can hold on to this space and keep riding these waves and make it all work, man. There's no guarantee that I'll be here. I could, there's really not. But
that's the exciting part.
Yeah. It's just like, the unknown. So
that is what's cool about like what we all do. It is the unknown. It's an adventure. Like, what is the universe going to throw at you today or this week, this year, this month? We have no idea where we're going to be.
Certain amount of, I guess, faith in a way.
Yep, that blind faith. Like, in the end, it's all going to work out.
Yep.
Yeah, I believe in, like, that hard work, sort of like, you kind of get back what you put into stuff. So, I'm willing to, like, sacrifice, going out to some parties, or I've missed a lot of important moments in friends' or families' lives so that I could really, like, not drop the ball on my dream, which it sucks because sometimes those trade-offs and those sacrifices are not always ideal, but they're there. And, I think, just trying to find balance and just the hard work, man, like stick to the grindstone and shit will come back. It has a way to just come back at you somehow. I can't explain it, but somehow it happens, we live in like there's more going on in this physical world than what we just perceive, like, what I'm saying, like, and I have a lot of ideas, but I don't have answers, you know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
I just try to like roll with it and tap into it, right? Like tap into those energies or whatever it is, and yeah, somehow it's like got me this far. So
Yeah.
I'm just happy to be alive still. Like I don't even know like sometimes how I made it this far.
Yeah.
Like
I feel you,
it's
man.
like it's been a hell of a ride, but we're here, and there's so many like talented people in my circle that are like, the team is growing stronger. We got some really good things happening, so it's cool, man.
It's very enlightening to like hear you say that.
Yep.
And like know that perspective, like you have that perspective, because
Thanks,
that's something
man.
that we believe in, and it's just cool to hear that. So
Yep, that's important.
it's just about enjoying the journey, So
Yeah.
that's all it is. We all like want to, we have this vision of where we want our brand to be one day, but this is the majority of it, is the
Right.
journey and building it, and the
Mhm.
ups and downs and everything, the experiences.
Yeah, it is important to enjoy it. Like sometimes I catch myself, like I said, I take the craft really seriously,
Right.
and sometimes I've had to like check and be like, all right, just take a day off, like go out, like you said, take a day off and let the stuff come back and marinate and enjoy life. And sometimes like we were saying, like you almost will have better opportunities just doing
I know.
that sometimes than when you're like trying to force it. So
You just got to live
Yeah.
life, and you're passionate about it, and we're passionate about what we do. So it's easy to get caught up in it,
Yeah.
because you want it to work out so bad.
Yeah.
But at the same token, it's like, all right, just chill and just like just see what happens,
yeah, definitely, man.
Because it's so crazy, just different opportunities that have come up in what we do, just through us just going out, having fun, and just living life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And not really looking for anything, and something pops up like, oh, this might be something.
Right.
Like you said, let's ride this wave and see where it takes us.
Yeah. I mean, this is cool because, like, you guys have the T-shirt stuff. We've got some T-shirts in the store. There's an opportunity there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if you guys want to
absolutely.
leave some shirts in the shop, we could build on something like that.
That'd be
I
cool.
do
That'd be
pop-ups
awesome.
and stuff like that,
Yeah.
where we do, like, in-store events and pop-ups. So, if you guys ever wanted to, like, put our heads together about, you could maybe stream it and do an in-store thing where
Okay.
people, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm
Dude,
just throwing it out there
Dude,
live.
I love it.
who
Let's
knows?
collaborate. Let's see what we can come up with. Since we moved down here, people keep asking us, because we're in 10 stores in Michigan, and people always ask us, and ashamed to say we haven't put a lot of effort because we've been a little busy with the transition into getting in retail locations in the area, and our closest one's probably in Fenton, Michigan. So we got to get our feet wet into the retail space down here. So I'm sure
Yeah.
we can we'll get something moving.
I could probably plug you guys in with a couple other spots that would
that'd
be
be-
good,
we'd
like to
appreciate
get your
that.
stuff in.
Oh, that'd be
you know?
awesome. That would be very cool.
There's a couple that come to mind offhand, but we can talk about that
Yeah.
later.
Awesome.
That'd be-
I'll plug in some stuff if you want.
Great.
And then like we've got some room on the rack. I've had like other clothing vendors where they'll bring in like a couple racks for the day and like do some live printing and
Okay.
Oh, that's
like
cool.
kind of like a workshop
Yeah.
sort of
Yep,
thing.
yep.
And it goes pretty well for them. They
That's
sell
cool.
they sell some pieces and they network and meet some people. So
That'd be cool. But
Yeah.
I'd be interested in, like, we can talk a lot more about this like off camera too, and but like we enjoy working with like different artists and doing events and stuff like that. So I think there could like maybe be some opportunities there. That would be fun.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, we didn't meet on an accident. So
Right.
like,
Yeah, yeah.
like we're on the podcast, like we ran into each other for some reason, whatever it is.
Absolutely, man.
The universe collided our paths for some reason. So
I had ideas about doing something kind of similar to this, just like chilling in this same space and having
Right.
people in the music community kind of hang out and talk or
Yeah.
whatever.
Uh-huh.
Just the same sort of vibe. Like, so this is kind of like already a manifestation of that idea.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Yeah, so it's like it's not me having to go out of my way to do it, but literally like you guys brought everything and I was just like, all
Show
right,
up, man.
all right, cool. Like, and I don't know, I don't get a lot of opportunities. I'm kind of a behind the scenes kind of guy. Like if you know me in the scene, like I'm not usually the guy like on the mic. I'm kind of I do the sound. I'm kind of like I'm more of the curator behind the scenes sort of guy. But like it's cool to have opportunities to be able to like talk about what I do and like I guess explain to people where I'm coming from a little bit, or they might not know really what I'm about or what my motivations are or something like that. So I think there's a lot of people that see me out here in the scene that are kind of trying to feel it out, and this might be a good opportunity to just
Absolutely.
like so people can like pick my brain from the comfort of their own
Yeah,
home
yeah.
without having to like be
Yeah.
physically
Come to the shop and
Well-
try and drill you with questions.
right.
I mean, I'm glad we did this because like this is exactly why we wanted to do this is because like our mission is to help inspire and like enable people. Like hopefully we can inspire some people at home that like enjoy your story and that want to take like a similar path. But
Yeah, definitely, man. Go for it. You guys, like, if you have something that you're passionate about, like, I don't know, there's too many people in life that listen to their, like, parent or their somebody in their life
Society.
that, like, rejected their creativity and they gave up on it, you know? Like, even me, I kind of, like, have put a lot of my own creativity on the back burner, but all this other stuff is just another form of it. It is
Yeah.
a creative outlet.
Yes.
It's just like it's an evolved like different medium. So that's how I justify it.
Mhm.
Like I'm not drawing and painting and rapping and making beats right now, but I did that for 25 years. Like that was what I committed my life to, and this is like just a extension,
Right.
and
Absolutely.
taking on a new form. So
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad we could like help get your story out there. because
Yeah.
Thank you,
that's-
guys.
It's an
Yeah,
interesting
definitely.
story. I
Thank
think
you
people
so
are gonna
much.
Enjoy it, of course.
Yeah, it's interesting, like seeing how it looking back and how it actually did end up making sense. From the
Yep.
point of like just going for it and not really knowing where it was gonna go and just sort of like letting it lead itself for a while. But now I'm really at this point because of the shop where I really have like a solid pathway that I've like carved out for
Yeah.
myself. So I know that I'm heading in this certain direction right now. So it feels good.
It reminds me of that Steve Jobs.
I was gonna say
Really?
that quote.
Yeah, well, yeah, he was giving the commencements at I think Stanford, and he's like, yeah, you can only connect the dots looking backwards. Like it only makes sense when you
Yeah, for
we never
real,
figured
yeah.
out working for it. So yeah, I just thought that was Steve Jobs, Apple Music, relatable. So to what we're talking about.
I was trying to figure out what it was. And
yeah,
you said
you can
that.
only connect the dots looking backwards.
Yeah, it's I think it's true.
Yeah.
It seems about right to me. So
I mean, this is a platform for you, so I don't know if there's anything else that you want to try and convey, a message you
Is
want to
there
get
a
across,
message,
or
anything you want to
promote?
say? I mean, yeah, this is a platform for you to share anything.
cool. Well, for the first thing that comes to mind is that this Saturday we're doing a record store day event in the shop. Right here in the 37 Shield Library, we're gonna have live DJs playing all vinyl throughout
Okay.
the day, and we're doing a 30% off sale on everything in the
wow.
store. Which
And
I've
that's the 21st.
this Saturday the 21st.
Okay, all right.
Almost every record shop in around is doing a big event for it. So people will jump around and kind of
That's
like
cool.
it's like bar hop but
Yeah.
a record store hop or
Yeah.
whatever. And this is our biggest sale ever that we've
30%,
done.
yeah.
It's not like Art Van where it's like the biggest sale ever today
Yeah,
or this
right.
week or whatever.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
this is
Every
lit-
Wednesday.
like, we've never done a 30% off everything. So if you guys seen some stuff in the shop that if anybody's out there seen anything in the shop that they want a chance to get for a little cheaper or whatever. And then I've got some like new inventory that's come in over the
Excellent.
last few weeks. So yeah, come in, check out the new arrivals. We might get the grill going. I'm sort of like
Oh, wow.
wishy-washy, but we'll be out here like hanging out, probably drinking a couple beers if anybody wants to come and hang out. It's very mellow, like come and shoot the shit, get
Yeah.
to know me, like meet some new friends, learn about some new music. Like we got some good DJs. There's Eastside John, who is involved in Funk Night. He's one of the main DJs with Funk Night and Slow Jams, which is a weekly Monday event that goes on. And those have been going for years.
Okay.
So they're like staple events in Detroit. So
Right.
Eastside John's going to be playing. This dude, DJ Moppy, who's helped me a lot with the store over the first couple years. And he's a producer DJ. And then Air Job, who's also one of my partners with the shop. He's a producer, DJ, artist. He has a lot of art in the store.
Okay.
He's going to DJ. And then Eddie Logix from Co-Owners.
Oh, wow.
Mega Powers. Yeah, he's going to do a DJ set. And typically, Logix is more of like a producer, punching out beats. And he raps a bit too. But like he's gotten more into DJing lately. So,
That's cool.
So he's spinning vinyl this weekend. It's going to be fun.
And it's supposed to be nice this weekend
Yes,
too.
it
It's supposed to be
is.
warm. What time will that start at?
Yeah, the store is open 11 till 6. The event's going to be more like 1 to 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
so.
right here, and if you don't know, you can look it up.
What
It's right here on
side
Eastern
street?
Market. Yeah. What is this? This road that you're
Russell
on?
Street is the main strip of Eastern Market. We're on Division, which is right off of that, across from Shed 3, which is one of the main pavilions in Eastern Market. We're right here in the middle of the market.
A Detroit Hustles Harder flag, like right by your stop shop. So,
we're right downstairs from Detroit Hustles Harder.
Can't miss
so
it.
yeah, you can't miss it.
It's a very welcoming environment. If you've never been here, want to come out, don't be intimidated. Like, I guarantee, these guys will take good care of you. You'll have a good time, and maybe even leave us some new vinyl.
Yeah, definitely.
So. And like you're on Instagram, the 37th
37th Shield Library on Instagram, Facebook.
Okay.
And then the online stores, we have a Discogs page, which is all music again, and then the eBay is like books, comics, action figures, kind of like the whole range of other stuff. So.
Right on.
Yep.
Give them a follow, and like we'll tag you in the videos and like put it in like the YouTube description. But
yeah, any of my friends watching too, you got to follow these guys.
Hey,
Skroove.
thank you. Appreciate it.
Check these guys out. They've got a bunch of podcasts on their page. So
yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Well, hey, thanks for having us in the
you guys
studio, man.
so much. Yeah, it was great.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. All episodes of What's Your Skroove are available on iTunes. And if you like the show, be sure to rate, subscribe, and leave a comment. As always, there are free stickers on our website, www.skroovco.com. We'll see you guys next time.